Hello all, I am Vineet back with the second part of the character design video, and in this video we'll be drawing the remaining parts of the character design sheet, meaning we'll be drawing today the back view of the character that was not there in the first part of the video. So let's get started. To begin with, I'm just duplicating the character layer and I have just flipped it horizontally. You can set up a shortcut key or just do it manually. I have done that manually and now I am erasing the features and the details of the character, just keeping the silhouette intact because the silhouette of the body doesn't change if we view it from the back or we view it from the front. It will remain the same because of the volumes are consistent in our body. So we have erased it, and now with the knowledge that we have developed over the years, like I have practiced anatomy for more than 2 to 3 years from now, I'll place the body features over it and drawing it really roughly. I'm not paying much attention to the details, but I know where the certain insertion and origin points of the muscles will be so that they look believable on the character. And you can see me adjusting some of the placements because I don't try to make them right at the very first time. They're very blank over the thoughts and just processing what I have in my mind. So I have roughly sketched out all the features, and to help you with anatomy, you can use the figure drawing of All It Worth from Andrew Loomis, and it's a really good book. I have used it to learn the figure drawing with the easiest method in the world possible, and it's a really good book. You should look over it. You can find it on Amazon, or you may download the PDF as per your convenience. Now, after the rough sketches, I have now moved on to the shading part. Now, one of the thing it's most important to remember that while we are shading, we need to imagine a definitely light source, and I have just placed it. You can see it's coming from the top left side, and the shadow or the shading portion is done on the exact opposite side of the light. And while shading, anatomy and anatomical forms are really important to keep in mind, because if you shade something that is not relatable to the human eye as the muscle structure over the body, then your character will look alienated. Or in your case, if you want to draw aliens, then you can move the anatomy details little further or keep them imaginary. But here it's a human character, and the anatomical forms are really well noticeable to the human eye, like the back view of the body is one of the things that we are used to look at. So people will definitely find it different and not relatable if you draw or shade the muscles in a way they are not meant to be. They are mostly cylindrical and rounded in volume. So if you have good practice over shading a cylinder or a sphere, then you are good to go with little bit of anatomical knowledge, like how the muscles are wrapped over the skeleton and how the layer of fat is there over the muscle and then the layers of the skin. So there will be definitions of the muscle, but the muscle fiber will not be there because of the layer of the fats that is there and the layer of the skin because they are covering it. Also, our character is a muscular character, so the fat percentage in the body will be lower, but hence it's a women or a feminine character, so the body fat percentage will be little higher over the thighs, hips area. But one thing to keep in mind is that it's a fighter character, so the body will be toned and lean, but the cuts will be there, but they will be little less as compared to the male character. These are the things that you can keep in mind while you are designing a character. And here the character is for the comics, so I have taken a liberty of twisting the poses of the character design, not keeping them in neutral poses. Rather than I have twisted the torso a little bit and provided a movement to the body that you can see looks really good, but it's also functional since it is not going to any game or adaptable for live action. I am pretty much chill right now for the pose, because at this pose, if you are going for a game character, then it's really difficult for the 3D modelers. But nowadays, while the process of sculpting is there, it's a little bit convenient for them to find different kind of poses over the neutral one, but it's relatively simpler if you give the artist a neutral pose so that they can draw them, or they can use it for the 3D stuff later on, so that the modeling phase is little easier. But since this character is for the comics, I've taken the liberty to switch the poses from the neutral A or T to a little bit of the character resemblance, like it's a fighter character and it's in a gym wear outfit, so might be a scenario from the story where she is just getting ready, warm up, and she is in a pose like you can see. Maybe she is up on to a fight or something. Here the storytelling works, but for the design part, pretty much we are done and just shading the arm right now. And for the arms also, you just need to look out for the many anatomical references while shading, or you can practice them and keep them as a visual library in your mind, like how the muscles are wrapped, where's the insertion point, where are the origins, how the muscle is there. And same for the arms also, the sphere and the cylindrical forms are being shaded while keeping the light direction in mind, and just the hairs are left and the cloth piece on the body. It is really easy to do a back view because not much of the details are there and the hair is covering much of the part. And for the hair, I have a great tip. Like if you want to render out hair in shading, so what should you do is just think like here's strips of clay where you can carve out details later on. Just establish the main forms ahead in time, then you can carve out the hair strands and details later on when you have established the volume. Same for the shading, keep the lighting in mind and carve out the details. And in shading, when I say carve out something like from clay, I mean where you put your hatch marks or you put your shading tones, the opposite side is the clay and you have the black side or is the negative side, and you carve it out. So almost here we are done with our character, just the cloth is left and we'll be shading it in a really simpler manner, not much because of the lighting scenario and the fabric of the material too. As for the gym wears, I think so they are body fitting because you have to do much of the movements, and any hindrance to the movement can be your disadvantage. So for character, the cloth must be body hugging. And here we are done with our character. One of the thing is like while character designing, you just have to keep few of the things in mind, like anatomy, form, structure, gesture, and readability, of course, the silhouette being most of the prominent one out of them. For the face callouts, I have not got any chance to record it because of my recording software was a little bit of faulty. I couldn't record them. But how to draw heads I have covered in my previous video. You can definitely check them out. Thank you for watching this far.